Okay, there we are. Alright, I'm MadMegaX381. I am, I'm running Metal Storm. It's an old school NES game. I'm going to turn it off and turn it right back on here real quick. You'll see me come up to my EverDrive screen. I apologize for that, but because the demo loaded, sometimes it can break the main feature in the game. So I want to make sure it works when we get started. So time starts on when I gain control. So it's about 4 seconds after I hit start. So we're going to just get going here. And I'll talk about it as we go. And time starts in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so this is the M308 Gunner. He is like a bigger Samus Aran, I guess, looking guy. And you know, so far this game is, you know, it's got cool graphics, I think, for an NES game. You'll see that there's some stuff moving on in the background, but the big deal there is that you just saw I flipped gravity. The law of gravity does not apply to the M308 Gunner. The law of gravity is more like a suggestion to this guy. So what you'll notice as you move through here, the background is really neat. It moves at a different rate than the foreground, so it gives this illusion of depth. It's called parallax scrolling. So it's a really neat look. So that was the first stage. This is the first boss. You have an auto fire in this game that is pretty potent. I didn't get a chance to talk about the power-ups, but there will be time in a minute or two for that. Alright, so that's the first stage. Moving into the second stage. And now this stage is pretty neat. You'll see that the level basically wraps around itself. So as I go up, it's the same as going down. And you have these little green things that try to crush you, though we don't really like them. But you can use the fact that gravity flips to all kinds of advantage to jump over certain things and avoid certain enemies. So what we're doing here is we're just kind of going through, and as gravity changes, these doors open or close. So it's a little bit of a maze. That if you aren't super familiar with, it can be a little tough to figure out, but I've played it a bit now, so it's not super hard to work with. I'm probably talking over it a little bit, which is too bad, but the music in this game is absolutely fantastic. It's super good as far as NES games go. I'm a big fan of it, and actually my favorite track, one of the reasons why I like this this category is that it doesn't cut out what is one of my favorite tracks, which is the Stage 4 track. I'll explain the wrong warps when I'm all done here, but you don't get to play the Stage 4 very long when you do the any % route, so you miss out on some cool music. This stage is pretty neat. Again, you get the parallax scrolling where the background's moving when you move, or when the screen is scrolling specifically in this case. But you got these like snow speeder things moving at you, and they come at fixed intervals. So as long as your movement is solid, you'll always see them at the same time. Unfortunately, there I was a little behind on my cycle there, so I took a little bit of damage, but that's why I grabbed that armor. There are a few different power-ups in this game. One of them is armor that gives you an extra damage, gives you the ability to take an extra shot of damage. We're going to play this a little safe there. Oh no! Alright, so playing it safe was probably not the right call, but that's okay, we can get through there. Pick up the armor again here. Alright, so my cycle is now off again, but it's a little closer to where it should be. We're gonna take this a little slow here, just to make sure we get through. There we go. Alright, so we're gonna lose a little bit of time here, unfortunately, but that's okay, because we get everything we need at the beginning of Stage 4. Oh. So, I'm actually just going to stand here and kill him from down here. That's not the right way to do it, but because one of the things that happens in this game is if you are in the middle of gravity flipping and you die, it will not let you flip gravity until you've jumped and landed. It kind of eats some inputs. It's a little weird in how that works. But I'm down to no lives, so hopefully I can make it through the rest of this game without dying. Or at the very least through stage 5, because that's really the dangerous stage to not have your power-ups. So this is stage 4, and it is the auto-scroller in the game. And unfortunately, it is the one that we skip when we do this any percent. And the reason I say unfortunately is because this music is bumping. It is awesome. You just kind of want to dance around with your gunner here. He's like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. You know, he's moving around a bit. But the idea is that you're kind of just in this elevator thing, and you're on a track, and you really can't control what's going on. So this is a good opportunity to talk about power-ups and things like that. So you'll notice that I have like a red and orange palette at the moment. The red and orange palette is because I have armor. If I don't have armor, actually, I'm almost entirely solid orange. That's a good way to tell if you have, if you can take an extra damage boost. So here's the only mid-boss in the game, actually. And we actually sacrifice our armor to beat him a little faster. I didn't quite get the quick kill on him, but I wasn't super far off. So this is 4-2. It's the same idea. You'll see that S down there. That's a shield. That's a different power-up. I just picked up an A for armor. And you'll see a C. That C is, it lets you kill everything on the screen. So it's pretty powerful. You grab that when you get a chance. And then P is for just power, and that is the upgraded blaster weapon. It's what you want to use to kill all of the bosses if you can help it. It has a better hitbox to do damage as well, so it's kind of the ideal weapon for a speedrun. So this section here, these guys spawn. Well, now we're in a little bit of danger. And they create a little bit of lag, so we actually don't kill them both as quickly as possible. We actually take our time to kill them. And now we just wait till we get to the boss. Hopefully I don't screw up the boss, because again, I've already had a little bit of a rough go of it to start here, so I don't want to game over here. So, of course, me talking about it means that that's probably what's going to happen. Okay, good. Snuck out of stage 4 nice and easy. But as I said, I don't have any armor, so we'll have to pick some up in the next stage, which isn't too difficult. Alright, so this is stage 5-1. This has probably the most annoying noise in the game, which are these little laser dudes. I'm taking this a little safe here. Have some extra time, so I figure it probably makes sense to. Okay, good. Now we have the armor. Now we can get back to playing the game for reals. So as I mentioned, that C thing is it's a crusher, is what it's called, and what it does is it kills every enemy on screen. So we use that to wipe out a few of those. It's all right. Grab that armor. Didn't mean to take that hit, but that's the perfect place to take one. Now the reason why I'm shooting these guys is that if you don't, you'll see this guy running around on the bottom here. He shows up and. What happens there is, oh no, that's not good. Didn't want to take that hit. He shows up and will do, as soon as they hit the edge of the screen, what will happen is they will, when they hit the edge of the screen, they'll explode basically, and that's definitely not what you're looking for. So I'm going to take this a little slow again here, because if I don't, I get hit there. And I will die, because everything in this game is effectively a one-hit kill. So this is going for the quick kill on this boss here. Hopefully it works. Alright. So 5 is out of the way. 5 is probably my least favorite stage. It's super scary. There's a lot of unforgiving things that happen in there. But we are through. And now we're on to stage 6, which at this point everything should be going pretty well. It's another stage with some cool music and a really neat level layout where the entire stage is rolling as you move through. So you kind of have to figure out the best way to walk safely through all of this here. I was trying to kill that flying thing because it just creates a lot of lag. That's not the end of the world, though. He's still there. This we just walk through, and we don't really care about anything until we grab that armor. Give us a little bit of safety for the impending boss rush. Shout-outs to boss rushes in games, which are super cool. Also, I'd be remiss to not shout out Retro Games Racing. They do a race every month, and this was one of the games that was chosen for it. And I don't participate in it as much as I'd like to, but this is a game that I've loved for a long time and never run, but I'd seen it run and thought it was super cool. And so I wanted to learn it, and I did, and I've been playing it almost non-stop now for the better part of a month. Probably at this point, you know, with breaks thrown in for other responsibilities. But, so that is the end of Stage 6, and now we get to the fun part of the run, which is a boss rush. So, all things considered, this run's gone pretty good. I can't complain too much. I have some armor, so I have a little bit of safety going into this. And here you see your 3 different options. Power is the way to go if you want to kill your bosses faster. So that's what we're using here. Boss 1 Redux. So the basic story for this game is actually kind of neat. So there's this space station on near the planet Pluto, which, as we all know, back when the NES was new, Pluto was still a planet. You know, Pluto represent. Love you, Pluto. And so this space station has a super powerful laser weapon that can destroy planets. And it's used, and it also has a super smart AI. Well, the AI goes rogue and decides that it wants to destroy Earth. So they send you, the M308 gunner, also known as Big Samus, and you have to stop it. So that's what we're going through right now, is we're going through all of this to stop this rogue AI from ending all of humanity. So sorry, that's a bit of a serious moment there, that this section here, this particular boss, it's not super difficult, but the windows are relatively tight, and if I'm not paying attention, I can get tagged there, so we're trying not to, for sure. Alright, so now is the last major boss refight. And moving through here. If you don't have the powered-up blaster weapon, this is actually a much harder fight. Not harder, but a more time-consuming fight. I think it takes twice as many shots, which is obviously not what you want in a speedrun, so... Alright. Time's coming up here. It's when the self-destruct mechanism connects, and that will be this edge here that's moving forward to the left. As soon as that hits, that's time. And time. So 13:32. It's a little about a minute off of my PB, which isn't super bad considering I had 2 deaths. But the people on Earth will sleep peacefully tonight because we have eliminated the evil AI, and now they have bestowed on me everlasting life. And I am immortal, so now I'm intended to go around and protect against other alien fights. So, real quick, there was a bonus for showing off the the wrong warps, I'm going to do that in a second. But I also want to show something real quick here, since I came in a little underestimate and have a little bit of time. Try a game for experts. So let's push the start button and just move on here. So this is stage 1 again, right? You know, nothing super different, right? Yeah, it doesn't really look different. Oh, there's a lot more enemies though. This is what Loop 2 looks like, and it is super hard. I really haven't messed around with this one too much, but it's on my list, and you know, there you go. There's just a lot more stuff that you have to dodge and deal with. So with that, I'm gonna hit start, but I'm going to reset this, and give me 1 second. We're gonna go into Metal Storm here, and I'm doing this because if we're gonna show off the wrong warps, it probably makes sense to have the ability to load up some save states, because unfortunately they are all frame perfect, so they're kind of hard to hit, and I'm going to do my best to explain how to get them and what they do and why they work. So let's jump here. So this is 4-1. This is the stage I was talking about that had awesome music. And what you'll see here is you'll see an armor and an enemy. And if you stand in the right place and your inputs are good, when you take damage and collect and power up on the same frame, the game doesn't know what's going on. So it will automatically kick you to a forward checkpoint. Now, that's actually the harder of the two to get, so of course I get it on the first try. There are actually 3 or 4 locations, there are 3 or 4 frames where that works, but they aren't consecutive, so the window's really tight, so you have to find the one that you want to hit. But again, that warp will only work if you hit the 4-1 warp. So if you go for the 4-1 warp and 4-1 doesn't happen, you don't get, you can't do the 4-2 warp. I'll show you what happens if you or I'll try to show you what happens if you miss a warp, and then get it later. It's not super tough to show off. So now we get to stage 5-1. 5-1 has a warp as well. So the warps, as I said, work anytime you can pick up an armor and die on the same frame. So in this stage, you have these laser guys that make this terrible noise. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get here and we're going to make a save state, because this is a pretty tight window here. Okay. And what you want to do is you want to grab this, you want to grab that armor, and hit that laser at the same time. This actually has multiple windows because of the way that the lasers are created. And of course, I was hitting this all day in practice, missed it like 3 times, period, and now I can't get it to go. And one more. Okay, come on now. Actually, the sooner you do your jump here after the laser starts firing, the bigger a window you have. This one is actually not entirely frame perfect, although it's making a liar out of me here. There it is. Okay, so all that one does is it jumps you to 5-2, like you died. Actually, when you die on this stage, it kills this guy here. So now we've got this armor, and we saw that just light coming at us. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up here, and we wait until this is about even with the A, and boom, there you go. Right on through to the 5-1 boss that is super mean. A couple of things to keep in mind about the warps. They will not work if you pause the game, and they will not work if you take damage before you get there. So I'm actually going to skip ahead to the 6-2 wrong warp. This is the last wrong warp in Loop 1, and I'll show this one off. This one's actually pretty tough too. to hit, and then after that I'll show you kind of what so the idea here is you want to hit the armor and the spikes on the same frame. And those, there we go. And then it'll jump you to the boss. So all told, those together probably save you something in the neighborhood of the stage 4 ones alone save you 2 minutes. The stage 5 saves anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, depending upon how clean your 5-2 is. The 5-1, I'm not sure exactly how much time it saves, but I want to say it's on the order of another 10 to 15 seconds, and then 6-2 is also on that order. So all told, it's almost 3 minutes, about 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes 45 seconds, versus the no wrong warp run. So let me show you just real quick, and I'll hopefully be able to do this in 4-1 because it's kind of the most consistent one. Or at least, for me it is. File stream. Start this up. And we are gonna just show off what happens if you get it. But so notice I've paused. So now everything should be broken. Oh. So now I've paused and I made a save state, so I don't have to do that again. And if I get the warp, all it's gonna do is send me right back to the beginning of the stage. And of course I'm having trouble hitting this one that's usually pretty consistent for me. Bear with me here, folks. My apologies. It's a frame perfect trick. There it is. And that's one thing that'll happen if you pause. It'll just eat your just eat it. But there should let's just go to the 5-2 wrong warp, because I think that one should be able to show off just resetting to the previous stage. Here, let's just die here because this is pretty consistent. And so now we've died, so now the game knows the checkpoint's behind us, not in front of us. So now when this thing comes by, it's going to just kick us back. So basically, if you want to do these wrong warps, you get one shot at them. So again, they're I think that these are super neat, and I think that this game is really cool. It's got some really awesome music, and there you go. See, it just kicks you right back to the previous checkpoint. It will only work if you've gotten to this point and you haven't taken damage or died or anything like that. You can die on like 4-1 and 4-2. The deaths and the damage only matters across individuals like numbered full stages. But that's the basic idea. So that was all I really wanted to show off, and also get to show off that cool death animation, which is just, you know, Big Samus here blowing up a bit. So I'm gonna kill this guy, and I think that's all for me. So just real quick, I want to say thank you to Pixels for Peace for asking me to be here and for letting me show off this run that I am a big fan of, and I hope that everybody enjoyed it. Shout outs to boss rushes at the end of games. 2 games in a row where that happens, with Mario Odyssey and Metal Storm. And stick around, Undertale is coming up immediately after me, so that's obviously a great speed run. I think it's a true pacifist run, which is pretty cool to watch. So that's all for me. Again, MadMegaX381. Thanks for watching, and hope that was hope everybody thought that was cool, and hope that everybody thought the warps were neat. And if you want to talk about this game, you know, hit me up. It's a super cool game, and I love talking about it. So, and with that, I'll say good night, and hope everybody sticks around. And good night, everybody.